Nick, I think a mark of a truly great game is one that no matter how long it actually is, it feels like it goes by like that, and that's what we're talking about today.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murph, and that's right. Today we're talking about games that are objectively long, but feel, at least to us, very short, or at least not as long as they actually are.
The time seems to melt away and go by rather quickly, at least in relation to how long the game actually is.
Yeah, still add is like time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, and I think I do genuinely think that means like that you have a good game on your hands if you're like, wow, that felt like, no time passed because I was enjoying myself so much. So with all that said, we are going to talk about 10 games that maybe overstay their welcome a little bit over on our Patreon. So go check that out. Thanks to all our patrons, you'll be able to see that right now. And some games, maybe overstay their welcome, but again, today what we're talking about are games that I could keep on going because I'm just having so much darn fun.
Yeah.
And I think we should just hop right into number 10.
Let's do it. Oh, we need our list. Okay,
right.
It's
us.
These are the non-subscribers.
Oh, you're recording us and
That's
watching
weird.
us while not
you
subscribing.
have to look at, like, stuff that you normally don't see on
like
this
this is the
camera.
angle you get,
You're looking
I
at
like
this
this
angle
board game.
right here. That's not.
You don't
good.
want
That's not
that.
good.
You're better than that. Let's go ahead and get you subscribed so you can go up to the main camera and get us in our glamour view because this is not it.
Look at this. Number 10 is going to be Return to Dark Tower. This is, I feel like a lot of kind of big story, kind of big crazy games very often don't feel as long as they are. Something like D&D,
you're, like,
also you're like,
immersed,
you're immersed in the whole world, you're immersed in what's going on. And so in that situation, time ends up flying by. If you're reading a really good book, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 hours, I've had no idea. Return to Dark Tower is kind of like that. This is this big kind of crazy game where you have this big tower in the middle that is a big cube tower that you'll be dropping this kind of corruption into these skulls. And you're trying to do some kind of mission. It's a cooperative game. It's also app assisted and app driven. So a lot of the story and a lot of like the twists and turns are going to happen in the app. So the story can kind of always be different and always be fresh. And they're constantly like updating it and things like that. And it's a game where, again, you're trying to fulfill certain missions. There'll be like quests that kind of go out on the board. You're trying to go to those places. Corruption is coming out of the tower in the form of these skulls. So you're trying to like undo and kind of cleanse the land of that corruption because certain areas can get kind of completely shut down and stuff. And then eventually you're going to make your way into the tower, at least in the game, and you're going to be kind of fighting your way up and trying to finish some kind of big mission.
The big bad, yeah.
And it's just one of those games that just like, a lot of times this game is going to be like 3+ hours, but it just doesn't feel that way because you're so immersed in what's going on and you're so invested in what everyone's doing, especially because you're on the same team. So like
the cooperative
you're really
nature.
helping each other out and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's something that's really fun is like, it's just really fun to explore the world and then like the ever, menacing presence of the tower itself and like when's it going to do something, what's going to happen, and the evolution that happens because of that. With the app assisting, kind of helping with like presenting side quests and stuff to do, it does feel like a really kind of nice big build up to an epic conclusion. Next up is going to be Age of Innovation. I'd say you can put any of the Terra Mystica Gaia Project games into this, as they are all, sharing a lot of DNA.
Yes.
Age of Innovation is a game based on Terra Mystica where you are going to have a faction and kind of like a homeland type that you belong to. You're the swamp or the forest or the rivers or whatever it might be. And these are going to be randomly kind of paired together in Age of Innovation, which is different from Terra Mystica or Gaia Project, where the abilities of the faction and their kind of home planet are forever linked. And so here you're really kind of trying to figure out how to maximize the abilities that are given to you by this faction pairing. And you are spreading out on the map, terraforming land to your home type because you only live on spaces that match your home type.
To move at all, you have to terraform it to your thing. You cannot even briefly be on a different map.
So you got to do that. You can upgrade your buildings. There's different levels of buildings that we're going to provide different incomes at the beginning of each round. And really trying to like extract as much as you can out of each round and participate in whatever the scoring is for that round. Every round, building a certain thing or founding a city or whatever it might be will give you bonus points. So you kind of want to make sure you're doing the right actions during the right round to gain as many points as you can. And this one also adds these innovations you can get by spending a new resource, which are books, to kind of give you either one-time benefits, ongoing powers, and stuff like that.
Kind of diversify yourself from the other people even more so.
Yeah, and I think like one thing you're going to see that for us is a common thread across this type of list is that, yes, it's a big game where big things are happening, but the individual turns are really snappy and quick. You're making a quick decision, you're spending some resources, and then kind of using your brain power on everyone else's turn to figure out your next move, so the turns keep moving quickly.
Yeah. And that is really a big one, at least for us with these big games. It's like if the turns... A lot of it, you're gonna be so immersed in the game that you just don't really know, you can't pay attention to the time. Or because your turn is only like 30 seconds, it just feels to kind of move around the table, move around the table.
You're staying engaged.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's been 2 hours. I didn't realize that because my turns have been going so quick. And it gets back to my turn so quickly. I feel like games that feel longer is like where you do your turn and then you're waiting like 10 minutes for it to get back to your turn. Because people are taking these huge long turns. That feels very long. In this case, when it's like bop, 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 bing, bang, boom, it just feels quick, even though it actually isn't. And these kinds of games, a lot of these kinds of games, particularly Age of Innovation, is very much that kind of thing. Another game that kind of falls under that concept of relatively quick turns is going to be Galactic Cruise. And this is also one of those games that just has like so much going on that I'm just getting lost in like the puzzle of how to do everything that I just kind of stopped paying attention to the time. This is a game where you're the CEO of a company and you are putting on Galactic Cruise. It's kind of like Floss in Paradise in Fifth Element, the Scorsese film. One of the greatest films of all time. And it's kind of like that. You're like these like spaceship cruises. And so you are the CEO of a company. So you are making ships. You're putting various activities on the ships like zero-G circuses and like space paintball and all this kind of weird stuff.
Just silly stuff.
And then you're advertising your cruise to 3 different types of people. There's like families, adventurous guests, and
relaxing
guests. And then you eventually will launch your cruise and you'll bring these people over on and then you'll kind of go on your cruise. But the whole time you're kind of managing all these different things. Your turns are really relatively quick. You're doing these kinds of stuff. The board is modular, so each time it'll kind of set up differently with different actions paired together. I don't know, this is one of those games, it's not the quickest turned game on the planet, but it's just like, I don't know, for some reason the world melts away when I'm playing this game.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's really nice with this game is it is rather large. There's a lot of things to kind of focus on and manage, but we always describe it as a generous game.
Yes.
There's a lot of things where like you need to get blueprints for your ship segments to then build them. And in other games, it might cost you something to take those blueprints. Here, it's just free. Just take the blueprints. You have to pay to build them and stuff. You can do, when you place a work route, there's 2 paired actions. You can do the same action twice. You can do both of the paired actions. There's these developments you can get where you can get access to more actions. But because the actions themselves are fairly straightforward and simple, and it's not such a super tight resource game, I feel like it keeps things moving, moving forward. There's a lot of like good options of things you can do, so I don't feel like there's a lot of like dead turns, and it's a little less AP producing, I think, because it's just a little easier with the resources.
If people got AP, they're gonna have AP in any game. So like, I don't want to hear like, well, people have AP. It's like those people are gonna turn
any game long.
They'll turn the game of life into a lifestyle game if they have to. So it's like, I don't count that. I'm talking about normal people who don't have crazy AP. But Galactic Cruise, again, it's just, there's tons of stuff going on. But for me, it just goes. It just goes and goes and goes. I just don't think about how long it is. I'm just like, oh, that was pretty quick in how it felt.
It always ends like a little bit shorter than I think it will.
It ends up, it sneaks up on you quicker than you think. So that is Galactic Cruise.
Next up is going to be Spirit Island. This is a game, that can definitely get long, especially if you're playing like 3 or 4 players. But I feel like a lot of people either solo this or play a 2-player, which I would recommend. And this is a game like for us, I think like I get so immersed in the puzzle of trying to overcome these invaders that are, sort of procedurally arriving and building stuff on your island and like trying to figure out how to get ahead of that, and especially because you kind of see what's coming down the road.
It's all telegraphed.
And trying to figure out how to use your spirit, because you are different spirits of the island, protecting the island, how you kind of build up your engine through the cards you gain, and then, produce these hopefully big turns to repel these invaders and generate fear and stuff like that. And this is one I just get really wrapped up in that puzzle so much that it's like kind of like a very like your head is down, you're really like invested in like succeeding in this game, working with your partner if you have another player there, and how those spirits kind of work off each other. And so this is one where, because it's cooperative and we're kind of encouraged to talk out our turn, I just spend my whole time kind of really engaged with the puzzle. So much so that you're not ever really looking up at the clock.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. It's like this is one of those ones where you just kind of get so immersed into it, into the puzzle, particularly if you're playing like solo, where you're not having to worry about other people like waiting for you. You can just kind of get into it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh gosh, it's been quite a while.
Yeah.
And I'm just, because you're just like thinking through the possibilities and stuff, and it just the kind of time melts away because of this really delicious puzzle that you're kind of working your way through. And a really incredible masterpiece of a game, really. I mean,
I think so.
It's one of the highest regarded games for a reason. And and it's just, and then all the spirits are different. They all play very differently. So trying to figure out how to work them and stuff, it's just, you just kind of get into it and the time just melts away. It's a beautiful thing.
Next up is going to be Ultimate Railroads, which of course is sort of the collection of Russian railroads and its various expansions that have come out.
You can say Russian Railroads technically, but it's
So Ultimate Railroads is kind of the best one to get because it's got all of it in there.
It's got all of it.
And the thing about this game is that it ramps up so significantly.
Yeah.
It's a worker placement game ultimately, where you are placing out workers onto a board. It's like Russian Railroads is almost hard to describe because it's like weirdly simple, like in terms of the action types you can do and stuff like that, but you build up this like great engine with literal train engines and stuff to boot. And what you're doing is you're placing workers to kind of develop these train tracks.
You have multiple different ones you can kind of
multiple
work on
different
and
ones, and you have like multiple track types on the same kind of track on your board that you're building, and it has to be that your basically more valuable ones can never supersede the less valuable ones. So you have to kind of develop your lower level,
like that kind of thing.
You got to develop your lower level stuff before you develop your higher level stuff, and you're kind of trying to figure out how to do that because, of course, you want to run your highest level
because your high level
tracks
stuff is so much more valuable. Like, it's insane the difference.
And a lot of the action spaces you go to put your workers will allow you to kind of bump your little track pieces to representing you developing those, and kind of developing the technologies of long train travel. And so this is a game where it's like 5 rounds. You can get these engineers and stuff. So it does, it's a game that'll be an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, it's not the longest game on the planet, but yeah.
But like what you get done in that time feels so massive. Because again, the first round, you're going to kind of score your train tracks by running your engines and stuff each round, which another thing you can upgrade are your trains themselves. And in the first round, you might get like 4 or 5 points.
Yeah.
In the last round, you might get like 90 points because you built up stuff. And so like the amount of things you get done in that time feels like it should have been a longer game, but then it wasn't. So it's this weird trip where like you're like, oh, that should have been 3 hours or something, but it went by so much quicker. And so it's just kind of like a magic trick with that game.
Yeah.
But you just get to, if you like games where you feel like from round 1 to round 5 you have grown, this game is like built around that concept of like ramping up that point scoring. And then with Ultimate Railroads, there's all the different versions of
all the different expansions.
There's German railroads, American railroads, which each add their own little extra thing
we haven't
on
really
top of that
explored it
kind
much.
of base. Yeah, so we have Ultimate Railroads. We haven't explored all the different things, so I really want to because I love just that kind of base Russian railroads
it's great.
game. And again, that ramp is unreal.
What's up, peasants? That's right. Big man's here.
You seem to have a little bit more bravado than usual.
That's right. They're making a board game about this guy right here. You guys don't. That's why you guys are peasants and I'm not.
What are you talking about?
Dude, Renegade Games. They're making a 40th anniversary about yours truly.
But you're only 35.
Yeah, I know. I'm only 30. It's a crowdfunding campaign, so they have to get it done early because the demand's going to be really high. They're getting ahead of the curve because everyone's going to want it.
Why would Renegade Games make a game about you?
I don't know, man. They probably just think I'm hella cool or something. Like, Mike gets it. Dude, here, just look, man. Here, look at this. Look at this.
Nick, this is called Akuza Samurai Swords.
Yeah, no, it says Nick Kuza. It's about me.
It has no N.
No, it says, look at it, read it, Nick Kuza.
It's Ikuza. I'm pretty sure it's a remake of Shogun.
Is Shogun about me?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I'll just,
Yeah, man.
sorry, Mike. Sorry. I'll edit this ad read.
This is Nyctophobia all over again.
So I've been officially informed by Renegade Games that this game is not about me, which is confusing, but I guess I get it. But nonetheless, this is Ikusa Samurai Sword. This is a 40th anniversary edition by Renegade Games. As we said, this is a remake of Shogun, so whether you know it as Shogun or Ikusa Samurai Sword, this game is set in feudal Japan, and you'll be taking on a clan, and you will be going against each other and trying to take over territory. This version is going to be a new, revamped version with beautiful new components, a truly deluxe version for this classic of a game. So you will be bidding in this game, you'll be gathering more troops, and you'll be taking over your opponent's territories. So whether you are a huge fan of Ikusa Samurai Swords or Shogun, or you're getting into it for the first time, this would be a great thing to check out. There'll be a link to Ikusa Samurai Swords campaign down in the description below. Make sure to let them know that the brothers Murph sent you, and a big shout out to Renegade Games for sponsoring. Next up is a big old cooperative game. This is Slay the Spire. As people who have lost hundreds of hours into the video game Slay the Spire, we've lost quite a bit of time into the board game as well.
Yeah.
This is one of those games, even if you're only playing like one act of it, it's still going to be pretty long.
Yeah, I'd
this
say
is a
an
game where
act
you're
is
going
probably hour and a half.
hour and a half, yeah. So this is like a game where you're going through, you're trying to slay the spire, and it's in 3 different acts. There's going to be a boss at the end of every act. It's a roguelite where if you die, you then have to go back to the beginning. And so this is one of those games where, again, you're kind of ramping up because it's a deck building game where everyone plays a completely unique character. You have a completely unique deck of cards. Yep. They all play very differently. They have different strategies, all this different kinds of stuff. If you've played the video game, you know what we're talking about. And so it's one of those things where, like, and because this one is cooperative now, you're all working together, and every single encounter where you're fighting enemies is its own little puzzle because you don't really know what's going to come out.
Yep.
And so you have a random kind of assortment of enemies depending on like what room you're doing. And so you have to just like work with that puzzle every single round. And that means that every single round is like new and unique because sometimes you're like, oh man, I didn't draw a lot. Can you hit this person so they don't hit me that hard? And you're constantly just talking back and forth and like working together and doing this stuff. Should we go do this? Oh no, we should go over here. Let's go on this route. And all of a sudden, boom, you're at the top of the first spire. And you're like, wow, that didn't feel like it took very long. And you're like, oh, we've been playing for an hour and a half already.
Yeah.
And then you're like, if we're gonna try to go through all 3 spires, this is gonna be
That's
an
your
all-day
Saturday,
game. Yeah,
yeah.
that's your game. That's gonna be like 6 to 8 hours probably. But it doesn't feel that way. It just melts away because
You're on
you're
this
so
grand journey.
Yeah, you're so into like your character and building them out and talking to each other and figuring out how you're gonna do this. It just, I don't know. I love the board game. I love the video game. But it's just one of the games that seems to go really quickly.
It does, and I think part of that is the fact that like when you're in an encounter and you're fighting monsters, which is most of the encounters that you're doing, there's no
the encounters
set.
always really quick.
Yeah, there's no set turn structure. It's not like Nick's doing all of his stuff and then I do all of my stuff. We can play our cards in whatever order we want, and in fact, sort of chain our stuff together because you might make an enemy in my row vulnerable, which is going to then beef up an attack, but I can be the one that does the attack. So the fact that there's not like set turn structure in that way means that you're always invested in what's going on. You're always participating in the play. And I think that is, again, usually a good mark for a game is like, I'm fully engaged with this thing all of the time. And as a result, again, you're not looking up at the clock.
Yeah. Next up is going to be Concordia. It's funny because when we were talking about what to put on this list, y'all threw out Concordia, and I was like, but Concordia isn't a long game. And then I'm like, no, it is kind of a long game. It doesn't feel long. But to the point where I was like, isn't Concordia like a 30-minute game? And it's like, it is not.
No. Especially if you're playing like a 5-6 player game. It's like a 2
certainly
hour.
is not, yeah.
This definitely falls into that category of like buttery smooth, quick turns. This is a game where you have a hand of action cards that say on there exactly what they do. We all start with the kind of same hand of cards, and you'll be able to buy additional cards, which are going to be the same types of actions, but might have better benefits and things like that. And what you're doing is you're spreading out onto the map. And kind of building into different cities, which are going to be cities that are based on producing different types of goods. You are then going to, you can play your prefect cards to activate a region, which will give you a resource. Then all the buildings, that people have built in those cities in that region will trigger and give you those resources. You are trading, buying, selling resources, kind of spreading out. And the cards that you are acquiring, in addition to your starting cards, are all going to give you scoring at the end of the game for different things. It might be for how many of your little colonists you put on the map, how many wine buildings you've built, how many different regions you put a building into,
Having
and all
certain
sorts of
kinds
stuff
of
like that.
cards,
Certain types of cards. So you are kind of purchasing stuff where it's like, if I have sort of invested in this area and I'm pretty strong, I want to try to get cards that are going to increase the scoring for that thing that I have done. But each individual turn is really simple.
Yeah.
Again, if you do a prefect thing, you activate a region, you see the resources, you grab your resources. It's simple. Buying and selling stuff, simple. Building out new stuff into the regions and moving around the architect action are simple, especially because the cards list out right there. It tells you exactly what you do. And I think that keeps the game moving forward.
It keeps it boogieing,
You know what I mean? There's like decisions to be made, but in terms of where you go and what you build and stuff like that. But like, it's just a game that has really smooth turns, and so it just keeps on moving. In a really kind of nice, satisfying way. I really love playing this game a lot. Just hit BGA and Alpha. So
did it really?
Yeah,
oh,
baby.
That's not good for Mike.
Very excited about that.
Mike's gonna play so much Concordia.
I love Concordia.
I'm surprised it wasn't there. Yeah.
Oh, it's such a good game, man. Classic Euro, the classic Euro, but it is for a reason. It's really good.
I'm curious if we'll get pushback on this one. I feel like it feels very short, and that's this Great Western Trail.
I feel like we are going to get pushback, but
That's
this
fine.
again,
This is our
a
list.
subjective
Here's the thing.
list.
If you want to push back, get wrecked first. I said it.
Go ahead and push.
Get wrecked.
Get to pushing.
Here's the thing about Great Western Trail. One, the turns aren't super long.
No.
They're pretty snappy turns, as we talked about. That makes the game
Move
feel
forward, do
quicker.
an action.
And at least for me, whatever reason, if you're doing this, for some reason, that makes the game feel quicker to me. Games with rondelles feel quicker to me.
Sure.
So this is a game, Great Western Trail, where you are running cattle up to Kansas City in the base game, or Buenos Aires, or Wellington in the other ones.
Shipping them off.
And you are, shipping them off on trains or boats or whatever, depending on the game. And then you kind of go back to the beginning of the rondelle, and you go back up to Kansas City, you go back to the beginning of the rondelle, and you kind of keep doing that until the game is over. And for some reason, that cyclical nature where you're kind of going around and around and around, just, I don't know, it just makes the whole thing move quicker, I think, because it's not really like point A to point B. It's kind of just like womp, 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 womp. And for some reason, that feels quicker to me. I don't really have a good reason as to why. It just does. But like I said, each turn, you're not doing too much. You're moving to a building. If you're moving to not your building, you're like an opponent's building, you can basically do like one little action, or you can go to one of your buildings or a neutral building, and you can do actions. Those actions can do a lot of different stuff, but again, they're all very quick. A lot of times it's like, move your train forward equal to how many conductors you have. Okay, that was it. It's like, oh, get new cattle. Okay, I'm gonna buy these new cattle. Okay, that's it. And it's just like, they're quick, they're snappy, and then it goes to the next person. And it's like, I don't know, to me this game just doesn't really bog down.
No, I agree. Again, everything is subjective, but to us, like,
But
this
you're
game
wrong.
just like
You're
moves
correct.
forward well. And I think like every time you hit Kansas City, it progresses the game forward. And you kind of see that represented by this area of the board where new potential employees are going out. And so I think you just kind of see like the game go, and it like, at least for our money, when we're playing, it's always going by a little quicker than I expect.
Yes,
And
and-
usually a little quicker than I want, because I'm like, oh, I need to get more stuff done.
It always ends quicker than I think it's going to.
Yeah, but a lot of the action spaces you go to are really simple. Where it's like discard a green card to get 2 money and stuff. So it's like, it's a hand management game where you're trying to hit Kansas City with as diverse a hand as possible, and you're stopping off on different spaces along the way to try to get that hand right.
Yeah.
And so it's something that like isn't so crazy to wrap your mind around.
Basically a filler.
And there's ways to kind of speed up and upgrade your person, so as more buildings go out, you can be moving quicker to keep going. Again, for our money, this one always goes by nice and quick, and I'm always kind of like left wanting a couple more rounds, which is a nice sign. So let us know in the comments if you experience that with Great Western Trail as well.
Or any of these games.
Maybe we're just better than everyone.
I think
don't
we
know.
are. I think we're geniuses. Another game that, again, has quick turns, quick kind of rounds and stuff is going to be Zolkin.
But something that adds up to a bigger,
It sure does, yeah.
tight resource experience. Yes, Zolkin, baby. As Jimmy always says, it feels like reading a book with short chapters, so it keeps moving along.
It's a Dan Brown book, right?
That's what I was about to say. It's Da Vinci Code big time,
Yeah.
dude. You're like, whoa,
This
oh my
chapter
God.
is literally 2 paragraphs. You're like, man, I'm making a lot of progress in this book.
So you feel like you're making a lot of progress. In this game, you are putting workers onto these gears. Again, we always say the best gimmick, board game gimmick ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so central to the game. You're putting workers on gears, or on a turn, you can remove workers from gears. Those are your 2 options. You have to do one of them. You have to at least place one person or at least remove one person. Yep. At the end of every round, the central gear will shift 1 tooth over, and all of the gears will then shift 1 action space over. So if you have workers on the gears, they're going to go around the merry-go-round.
Because when you take your
stronger
worker,
actions.
when you take your worker off, that's when you do that action.
Yes.
When you place it there, you're just placing them there until you take them off and do the action.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of wait because they get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger.
Or the actions themselves are just different, so you want to get to the right spot if you're gaining resources or whatever to get the resources you actually need. And then you are going and building kind of buildings, going up temple tracks and worshiping and stuff like that to unlock, scoring and there's
stuff.
technologies you can advance on as well. But this is one where there's basically 4 quarters of the game.
Yeah.
That will each quarter will end with a kind of like a temple activation or a temple scoring. You have to feed your people and do kind of classic stuff like that. And this is one where I think all the way around the gear is 27 turns.
Yeah.
If you hear 27 turns, you're like, oh, this is going to be a monster.
This is a 4-hour game.
That's a long game. But the turns are so quick where you're putting stuff on the gears or removing some things that the game actually really kind of zooms by a lot faster than you think it's going.
And way faster than you want it to in a lot of ways.
And so all of a sudden you're at this temple thing where you can get resources based on how far you've advanced. You're like, I haven't even started doing that yet.
Because if you want to get to the end of, there's a crystal skull, it's Indiana Jones theme. There's a crystal skull kind of
the Chichen Itza board.
But it's the Chichen Itza board, it's like to get to the very end, which gives you the most points, it's probably 8 or 9 clicks down the way.
So you're like,
that's a third of your game. Your person has to just sit there and go click, 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 click.
So there's a lot of planning that goes involved.
It's a lot of that kind of stuff.
It goes by quicker than you think. And there's also, at times, the ability for people to do a double advancement on the thing. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, you're eating up a lot of game here. Slow down,
Right?
So it's really kind of fun and interesting the way this game goes, because it is one that always ends quicker than I'm thinking it's going to, because it is a big, heavy game and there's a lot of stuff to think about. The resources are very tight. And so you kind of feel the clock ticking, time winding down as you go. And it seems to happen so fast.
Yeah.
Nick, this next game is basically a filler.
Here's the thing. I hate this game.
No, you don't.
I do hate this game. I never want to play this game again. But I will fully admit that I get why other people like it, I just don't like it. But here's the thing, I will fully admit that the time just melts away when you're playing Twilight Imperium 4th edition, or whatever edition.
This is not a short game.
No.
This is a truly long, big, epic
The
game.
fast games of this are 4 hours. People brag, they're like, we play 2AI4 in 4 hours. I'm like, that's so long.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But this game creates an epic narrative where you are different factions, wildly different factions. You're all vying for control over the galaxy. You're going to have different ways that you can kind of do that, different things that are going to get you to your points. It's a race to 10 points. And you're going to be going through these different rounds. There's, some negotiation. You can wheel and deal with people. There's a lot
Everyone's faction
of a lot
is
of
very
above the
different.
table stuff.
Yeah,
a lot above the table, kind of play that's happening. And each of us have played this once. I played on my old gaming group from Ventura does a New Year's Day play of it, which is really fun.
Yeah.
And it takes, 8, 9, 10 hours or whatever. But this game was wild because as I'm playing it, I would occasionally look down at my watch.
Oh,
And every time I did it, an hour and a half had passed.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? What do you, it's 11:30, It was mind blowing.
It's weird. It literally,
because I'm like,
it's
oh,
like-
we just did this thing, and like time is just zooming past. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
like,
it's legitimately wild. The way where it's the same thing. I played a 13-hour game of this.
Yeah.
And same thing where like and I don't like this game, but it was just like you have to fully admit they're talking about long games that feel short. TI4 is that. Like, it really is. You look down, you're like, God, it's been 2 hours? What?
Yeah.
And then you look down again, you're like, gosh, it's already like we started in the morning. We're like, God, it's already the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then we're like, the sun's going down. What? And it's just like that's literally how it happens because you do get it's so big, it's so epic. You are interested in what other people are doing on their turns. People's turns are taking like 20, 30 minutes, but you're interested in what they're doing because it can really affect you and stuff like that. Everyone is playing different factions. Everyone's doing different stuff in different ways and stuff. It is a big, crazy, epic game that I fully understand why people love. I just never want to play it again. But again, it is the absolute epitome of this list. And that's why it had to be number one, was because it's like time does not exist when you're playing this game.
Yeah.
It's wild.
you're really wrapped up in the story that gets told and the big moments, the kind of epic memories that are created when you play this game in such a way that, like, you know, again, if there's a way for 8, 9, 10 hours to pass by quickly, like playing TI4
Yeah,
is
it'll do it.
probably going to achieve that.
it'll do
It
it.
has for us when we've played. So that's our list, everybody. Those are 10 games that for us, when we're playing them, time just kind of like slips away quickly, and you're not even like worried about how long things are going on. But I'll tell you what, some games, they do go on a little longer than you want them to for the experience that you're having or whatever it might be. You're like, man, I wanted this to be 20 minutes shorter. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily the end of the world, but it does happen. So we're going to talk about a few of those games over on our Patreon. So again, if you're a patron, that video is live right now. If you want to become a patron, it's a great way to support the channel. We really do truly appreciate it. You can find a link in the description of this video to become a patron today. And we thank you. It helps keep the lights on here, which makes for better video because videos in the dark are weird.
Yeah,
so
they are weird.
we don't want to do that, but get your picks in the comments below for those games that for you, like, just seems to go by in
And they don't
2
necessarily
seconds.
have to be long games.
No.
You know, they could be an hour game that feels like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, just know that most of ours were long games, but
Yeah.
it's like...
Whatever that means for
'cause
you.
I think that's a huge benefit to a game.
Big time,
If
yeah.
it feels like it goes by quick, that's going to get to the table,
I think
right?
it's a sign that you're having fun.
Yeah.
So that's our list, everybody. Get yours in the comments below. Be sure to thumb this video up and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Big shout out to Renegade Games for sponsoring this one. Make sure to check out Ikusa Samurai Swords and make sure to check out some other top 10s by these here brothers Murph. We got a lot of these kinds of videos. We really appreciate you watching. Have a good one.